They came from all over Italy, with the first spots in front of the fences set up in Piazza Castello, occupied as early as 7 in the morning. But there were also fans from Germany, France, Switzerland, Romania, and other countries who arrived in Milan for Ferrari's first real crowd event on the eve of the 2025 Formula One season. In the end, the police reported a turnout of 10,000 people, distributed in a tightly controlled area since the early hours of the morning. On the large stage set up in front of Piazza Castello, an F2004 and a 248 F1 were the first to take the stage, a pairing that did not go unnoticed by Lewis Hamilton, who immediately recognized them as two cars driven by Michael Schumacher, including the car with which the German legend won his last world title. A special emotional moment took place when the presenter mentioned the German's name, as the Ferrari crowd erupted in applause, warmly celebrating Michael Schumacher. After the 7-time Formula One world champion was remembered, Charles Leclerc took center stage, driving the 2019 Ferrari around the streets adjacent to Piazza Castello, simulating a pit stop for a tire change and performing some donuts. A few hundred meters away, under a tent, Charles Leclerc was therefore reunited with the car with which he won the 2019 Italian Grand Prix at the Monza circuit, just days after Ferrari's last public event held in Piazza Duomo. For the roadshow around Piazza Cadorna, Lewis Hamilton was assigned a less glorious car, the Ferrari from the 2021 Formula One season. However, when it came to the enthusiasm of the crowd, there was no difference. Both drivers completed 3 laps of the mini-circuit before stepping onto the stage in what felt like the season's first podium, complete with the Italian flag. In terms of support, there is no doubt. Ferrari is set to begin the 2025 Formula One season with an extraordinary following, reminiscent of the years when the team's popularity soared thanks to a long string of victories and world titles in the Michael Schumacher era. The embrace of Milan also made an impact on Frédéric Vasseur, 10 days before the Australian Grand Prix, which will kick off the new F1 World Championship. After 2 years at the helm of the team, everything has become more familiar to him as well. The unease he initially felt in front of large crowds has disappeared, replaced by a more natural yet cautious attitude, careful not to fuel false hopes. However, it is undeniable that this Ferrari holds great promise. The presence of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc on stage is already a message of how much Maranello believes in the possibility of achieving complete success. The chants of "Bring us the championship," directed first at the Monegasque driver and then at the Briton, are no longer just an act of faith, but a genuine hope for something that now seems within reach. The event was also the first official crowd bath for Lewis Hamilton, who was warmly welcomed by the Ferrari faithful. His attempts to speak Italian were highly appreciated, as were his compliments toward a sporting passion he had previously only seen as a rival. The Italian crowd bid farewell to Ferrari with a message for Monza: "We want you at the top of the standings." A wish for Ferrari to arrive at the Italian Grand Prix as the leader of the 2025 Formula One Constructors' Championship. So much affection, so much warmth and passion, but also immense responsibility for those who must now strive not to disappoint expectations that are both passionate and immense. The presentation of the new Scuderia Ferrari F1 team to the fans is a success on all fronts. Street performances, donuts, passionate cheering, and massive participation. The excitement of the Tifosi is through the roof. The upcoming Formula One season is described as the most open ever, but Maranello's goal is clear and long overdue: winning the title and ending the current unbearable drought. Emotion and realism defined Frédéric Vasseur's presence on stage at Piazza Castello as he effectively launched Ferrari's 2025 season, his third at the helm of the Maranello team. While his words carried enthusiasm, they also reflected a measured awareness of the challenges ahead. Frédéric Vasseur subtly acknowledged what had already been evident throughout the day. Ferrari would not begin the season as the outright favorite. Instead, the team would need to find ways to counter McLaren's apparent early advantage, which had been evident based on the data collected in the pre-season testing session at the Bahrain circuit. The Frenchman emphasized that the start of the championship would bring inevitable fluctuations, with strong performances on some weekends and more challenging ones on others. He stressed that the key to success would lie in how Ferrari navigates these difficult moments, pointing out that the final year of a regulatory cycle often leads to unpredictable shifts in competitiveness, much like the previous season. In his view, at least 4 teams appeared capable of winning races, which would make for an exciting and closely contested championship. Reflecting on Ferrari's performance in 2024, Frédéric Vasseur noted that while the team had achieved strong results, securing second place in the standings, it had ultimately fallen short of its ultimate goal. He pointed to a particularly difficult stretch in June and July as a decisive factor in missing out on the title, suggesting that maintaining consistency throughout the season would be critical to improving their chances in 2025. Ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc's appearance on stage, Frédéric Vasseur also addressed the significance of Ferrari's driver lineup. He highlighted that while team performance is built on multiple factors, the drivers play a crucial role, not only in terms of pure speed, but also in their ability to inspire, contribute behind the scenes, and foster a positive competitive spirit within the team. With Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, the French manager expressed confidence that Ferrari could channel their combined strengths into something exceptional. He acknowledged that their presence would bring additional pressure, but viewed it as a constructive force that, if managed correctly, could drive the team forward. In his eyes, having such expectations was a privilege rather than a burden. After all, the absence of pressure would only signal a lack of competitiveness. Above all, the former Alfa Romeo team principal conveyed his satisfaction with the current atmosphere within the team, describing it as highly positive, not just for Ferrari itself, but also for its passionate fan base. Lewis Hamilton exuded both the confidence of a seven-time world champion with 105 Grand Prix victories and the raw emotion of someone stepping into a new chapter, now carrying not just a car, but the weight of an entire fan base. At the event in Piazza Castello, Milan, he truly grasped what it meant to be a Ferrari driver, witnessing firsthand the unmatched passion of the Tifosi. Thousands packed the city center, eager to catch a glimpse of him and Charles Leclerc, providing them with an electrifying boost ahead of the season. On stage, the Briton expressed his firm belief that Ferrari had everything necessary to fight for the championship. He conveyed his excitement at being in front of the Tifosi for the first time, describing the experience as unlike anything he had encountered before. While he had already visited Fiorano, this was his first real connection with the fans at such a close level, making the moment even more special. The opportunity to perform with his new car in Italy, he admitted, was an honor, and he hoped to deliver strong results for everyone supporting the team. Reflecting on his early days with Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton shared that the period since January 20th had been intense, with non-stop work to integrate himself within the team. While adjusting to the car had taken time, he relished the challenge and looked forward to the journey ahead. With only a brief pause before the season opener in Australia, he was eager to get started, embracing the pressure and excitement that came with representing Ferrari. The first stop is now the Australian Grand Prix at the 5.278-kilometre Albert Park Grand Prix circuit, with the team ready to leave for Melbourne, but not before greeting the fans in a show full of surprises.